You want the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
You can't handle the truth!
Well, we're giving you the Michigan Sports Truth, the show that is honest, reveals the facts, truth, and statistics, and does not mess around. Follow me, Taylor Phillips, on Twitter at DT2Phillips. Email me at TaylorGatorPhillips14@yahoo.com. Follow Ed Smith on Twitter at EdSmith313, and go to our website at MichiganSportsTruth.com. Also like our Facebook page, The Michigan Sports Truth, and join our Facebook group with the same name. The Michigan Sports Truth podcast on Spreaker is also available on iHeartRadio and SoundCloud. Also a subsidiary of Sports Radio Detroit, thus available on iTunes and Podbean. This podcast is particularly not for entertainment purposes, and the views expressed by the host of this podcast are opinion-based. However, they do not come without facts, research, statistics, and truth, whether other people like it or not, and no matter how harsh or complicated it may be. This is the Michigan Sports Truth, and nothing can ever stop it from being correct.
And episode 267 of the Week in Review is on the air. I'm Taylor Phillips along with Ed Smith. How are we doing tonight, Ed?
Well, I spent the last hour and a half trying, in the bathroom, puking my guts out because I had witnessed absolutely disgusting display of basketball in tonight's game 2 of the NBA Finals. How are we going to get competitive series? I'm not saying that someone will fit Cleveland. I'm just saying this is someone who hopes for a more competitive series. May not be proven wrong in game 3, but so far I just feel an utterless hit in the bottom of my stomach. I'll just say it's fuck you, Durant. So carry on.
Yeah, Durant, a recent acquisition last offseason by the Golden State Warriors, and they are seeking total revenge on those Cleveland Cavaliers. They've routed them twice, 2 routes in a row, and an easy 2-0 series lead. It was 67-64 at halftime in game 2 earlier tonight, but the Warriors have proven that they were too much. Heading into Cleveland for Game 3 on Tuesday, all games on ABC. But we'll get to basketball in terms of the Pistons, in other words. But we're going to recap some Tigers, also Red Wings, Griffins, Lions, MSU, and U of M football, followed by our 5-question segment later on. But let's talk some Tigers real quick. We got a lot of Tigers to talk about.
That one is long gone!
So the Tigers take 2 out of 3 from the Kansas City Royals at Kauffman Stadium because the Royals are in last place in the AL Central, and a joke, except for that one performance. Eric Skyland pitched 6 1/3 innings of shutout baseball because of how awful the Tigers' offense had been as usual this year, with or without JD Martinez. But they scored 10 runs on Monday and win 10-7. Tuesday they got shut out by Skyland, his first MLB appearance on the mound, his MLB debut, 1-0 was a final on that. And then Wednesday, the 31st, on May 31st, at the end of May, they edged the Royals 6-5. They mustered just enough runs for a win. It's not way too many runs. And D'Angelo Barrow commented here, giving us a good compliment. Thanks very much. Tigers win 6-5. JD Martinez and Justin Upton showing some flash in their bats in that series. Each a 2-run double on the Wednesday. JD Martinez a 3-run home run on Monday. They get the Tigers a 6-3 lead. They blow it, fall behind 6-7 on Monday. Green and Hardy. And then F-Rod, Francisco the Failure Rodriguez now, used to be called K-Rod in the past for how incredible he was in his major league debut. And now he's a washed up veteran, giving up a 2-run home run to Eric Hosmer. That was a total fucking mismatch. But the Tigers score 4 more runs. Tigers score 4 more runs. My damn lips. On their former Tiger closer Joakim Soria in the 8th inning. Joakim Soria used to be great in the first half of 2015 until he got traded. kind of tailed off at the very tail ends of the games before he got traded to Pittsburgh for the second half of 2015. He came back with the Royals, and now he's struggling. But the Wilsons shut down the Royals' offense with very little trouble, and then they had Thursday off, and then they rout the Chicago White Sox not once but twice, Friday and Saturday. And going into that series at Comerica Park, after a long road trip, the Tigers and White Sox ended up in a very, very close battle by just a half game for third place in the American League Central Division. And the Tigers rout them 15-5 and 10-1, outscoring them 25-6 in the first two games. That is bizarre. Very bizarre. And then they win 7-4 walk-off fashion on Justin Upton's 3-run home run. They ended up outscoring them 32-10 in that entire series because of those two rout wins to start off with. Ed, what do you have to say to that?
Good. Try doing that shit against the Indians or the Twins. Unimpressive because you're doing it against a fourth-place team. You're still got ground to catch up with the Minnesota Twins. Good thing, yeah. You've won 4 in a row. You've won now, 5 out of your last 6. You somehow had a nice rebound after that horrific majority of that rush. But it's nothing to hoot about, in my opinion. I mean, for Christ's sake, you waste another vintage Verlander performance against the Royals, and now you lost them earlier today to a groin injury. It seems like whenever it's like the tale of Sisyphus, when you get the boulder up towards the apex of the hill, only for it to come falling back down on the other side, and you have to go through the journey again. You know, you lose Miggity injury, lose JD injury, they both come back, pitching starts to become shit again. I used to have a good friend, and by the way, JV gets hurt. It's
well, the exact update on JV, the exact update on JV is a precautionary due to a tight right groin. But they don't expect it. But the exact word on it is they don't expect him to miss his next start. So we'd assume that he'd be fine afterwards.
So that's the Kate up there about a week from now.
Yeah. Well, a lucky break for Justin Verlander and the Tigers if they want to win, if you ask me. So continuing on here, Tigers reached the 500 mark. They are exactly 28-28, third place in the American League Central Division. Now, for the White Sox and the Royals, they are now tied for fourth place in the same division. I mean, holy smokes.
They're both tied for last.
Yep, both tied for last as well. And this has nothing to do with Kate Upton, Mike Oxlong. I'm sorry. Talking to Mike Oxlong, one of our other commenters on this episode here on Spreaker, he says Kate might have fucked us. No, Kate has nothing to do with this. Shut up about it.
Like I said, after a week from now, we'll get our answer.
Yeah, uh-huh. So, Tigers welcome the Angels into Comerica Park Tuesday through Thursday. They got Monday off, and then they go to Fenway Park to play the Boston Red Sox. Yeah, I'm going to have to block Mike Oxlong on this one. He's just being stupid. He's still blaming Justin Verlander's injury on Kate Upton. Get the fuck out of here! You stupid delusional piece of shit! Let's move on here. Friday in Boston at 7:10, Saturday at 7:15 on Fox National Broadcast, and then Sunday at 8:05 on ESPN. So, that's the weekly recap and the upcoming schedule. The Red Sox somewhere in the.
Let's hope they don't get embarrassed on national TV again.
Yeah, I know. Here, let me comment one more thing here. Before we get along with this. Now, before Sunday's game, Tyler Collins, as we got an update on him, cleared waivers and he was assigned to Toledo. Now we knew that may happen. We knew that it was going to happen actually, and it did because the Tigers, instead of unconditionally releasing him, they designated him for assignment and put him on waivers, not unconditional waivers, but just waivers in general, and they still decided to keep him in the organization and send him and assign him to the AAA Toledo Mudhens. See, that proves why DFA'ing Tyler Collins was not good enough for the organization or its fans. Releasing him unconditionally, even if it was for nothing at all, would have been better because nobody else wanted him anyway.
Right, it's basically the same thing that happened when fans were clamoring for it and eventually got the team getting rid of Java Chamberlain. He was bringing nothing to the table, was absolutely useless, and he was a complete dumpster fire in the field, which in a lot of ways mirrors what Tyler Collins has done this year. So I got no problem with it at all.
Yeah, except it's just a waste of time. It just makes us wait longer before Tyler Collins is clearly gone from the entire organization. Not only from the Major League Baseball roster, but gone from the entire Tigers organization, period. He's a disgrace. He should never play baseball again, period. And I'm not playing around here. Tyler Collins is not a Major League Baseball player ever. And he kept proving it before the Tigers DFA'd him. That's the truth about Tyler Collins. He's pathetic.
You are pathetic!
And the Tigers decided to keep him in the organization.
Are you out of your mind?
Stupid fool.
This Tigers team is too loyal because of Chris Ilitch's loyalty, which is again a major virus. He will sell the team sometime in the future, not now, but in the future, maybe possibly in the off season, due to tax issues and his financial debt tied to team revenue. According to Jeff Moss back in March of this year. So I always
got to be really curious because we know how much. Well, I like to assume that the Ilitch family, throughout their all endeavors, they're worth a healthy sum. So why something as small financial issues regarding the Tigers be a bother or worrisome to them when they can make triple that alone in a month's sale profit with Little Caesars, amongst other things among Olympia Entertainment. But that's another thing of those curiosity, made me feel curious, which is what cheap sports billionaires and their families. Maybe we're right. They don't sell the team. Maybe they just do what the Chicago Bears have done with the McCaskies. Just hold on to it like a relic until everything falls to the fucking ground.
Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. That is so ridiculous. It just keeps going. It just keeps going more insane. Like the Fox Sports Detroit's outside colleagues, like Craig Monroe, Johnny Kane, and Mickey York, being a bunch of fanboys. Mickey York riding a tiger carousel. What the fuck is up with that? Oh my God, that's unprofessional.
What's unprofessional is Craig Monroe for some reason not liking whenever any form of critique or criticism, even if it's fair and truly honest, is leveled at the team in any way, shape, or form or fashion. That's what's really fucking unprofessional.
Yeah.
You are
Hey,
pathetic!
Craig, to say a negative thing if it means of critiquing your team, hoping they improve on. That's the job that comes with us as being fans. Some of them are charity heavy, sure, but for all intents and purposes, it's all about making sure the team fix the problems to get better. Fucking realize that, please.
Yeah. Craig Monroe has even been worse than Rod Allen has ever been. Think about that. Rod Allen may sometimes be a shill, but Craig Monroe is a bigger shill than Rod Allen has ever been. You can listen to it for yourself as you watch the television. And
I would, but then I have to break my television from hearing stupidity.
maybe get a 20-gauge shotgun and blow it to smithereens, for Christ's sake.
Well, I want to do that after watching Game 2 tonight, so thank you for reminding me of that.
Yeah, I'll lend you one of my dad's shotguns if we weren't too distant.
Oh.
If there was such a thing as an elephant gun, we'd better be careful with it. Just try not to hold it against our shoulder.
No, just shoot it into a tree.
Yeah.
No one gets hurt, no one gets killed or whatever. And
Yeah.
you still take out your anger and aggression.
Eat bazooka lead, motherfuckers. Speaking of which, Chris Ilitch, is behind something. Maybe behind something here. This is going to be one of our 5 questions. I read in an article from Matthew B. Mowry, Tigers GM of Avila won't get concerned with buy or sell talk right now. Quote, right now I think everything is fixable in-house. This is just another part of Al Avila's continuous positivity, 100% positivity in this Tigers organization. Now, Al Avila is actually willing to admit that he's not happy at where the Tigers are right now. The Tigers are now at the 500 mark. After taking 4 of 6 from the Royals and the White Sox, Royals on the road and the White Sox at home. Al Avila admittedly admits that he's getting frustrated before then, but then he talks about the buy or sell that he just doesn't know yet. So that's one thing. See, here's one quote that drove me out of my mind. Al Avila said, quote, "We have our challenge. This is a tremendous challenge. It's a really good division." No, it's not.
Shut up, you idiot. What?
Yeah, I'm going to laugh uncontrollably at that for the next 5 minutes. I've been hearing that quote.
Yeah, it's the AL Comedy Central. Al Avila is not even reading their exact records. It's a tight maybe he's only saying that just because it's really tight, no matter how bad it may be.
Again, I'm trying to spin and grind. That's such a bullshit spin if I ever heard one. Like, really? Why is the defending American League champions who was this close to winning a world championship last year, why are they trailing the fucking Minnesota Twins who have been a complete dumpster fire for the past few seasons? Why are they trailing them? And it's now early June.
Yeah.
What kind of division is that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Here's another one. But I do believe with that team that we have, quote unquote, we should be able to win games and get into the playoffs. Well, we'll see about that.
Yeah, and if you do get playoffs, you'll get shit canned by the Yankees or the Astros.
Or the Orioles. Whatever team. And then there's quote number 3 about Brad Ausmus. I think Brad's done a great job. Right now he's faced a lot of challenges. When we went on this road trip again, I didn't like all the talk about how tough of a trip it is. Al Avila is just hanging on to Brad Ausmus and at the same time being a shill of his own. I'm not sure where that's coming from, whether it's coming from Avila or Chris Ilitch. That's one of our 5 questions. Chris Ilitch wants to be, here's a hint, Chris Ilitch wants everything just to be positive from everybody else. And he controls the Tigers and Red Wings right now. It's a virus of positivity. He's an evil positivity puppet master. It's time for a new owner.
Evil's a bit of a stretch. Chill, yes. Evil, no.
Right. Or maybe you're right. Maybe evil's not the correct word for it, but just delusional.
Yeah, and cheapskate. Delusional cheapskate. That'll be my coin term there.
Yeah. There we go. That's more like it. Thank you. And like we said, Brad Ausmus making the excuse that the schedule is awful.
You're just a crybaby, a coward.
And Avila and Chris Ilitch and the players go along with it. And they just keep making excuse after excuse after excuse. They don't even do any homework. They just stick with their own guns, like everybody else in Detroit does. I mean, the loyalty is just too contagious, and they don't cater to the fans. It's all going the wrong way. Avila has, and this is not the first time Avila has said that Brad Ausmus has done a great job. He said that last year too, twice, not once but twice last year. This year's the third. This year, just recently, that's the third time. That's strike 3 and Avila's out in my book, in my eyes.
Yeah, it's very
troubling. I fire the GM and then the manager.
It's very troubling to hear him constantly repeat this saying as if it's a form of mantra that if he says it enough or says it enough times, he'll believe it to be true. No, Al, it's just not the case here.
No, it's not.
It's a complete dunderhead who has no fucking business managing a popsicle stand, let alone a baseball team.
Yeah. It's an entire disgrace. So, that's all Tigers talk. Let's get to the Pistons here.
Left sideline 3, and he answers.
Pistons have reported to the media that they are open to trading their 12th pick in the 2017 NBA draft, their 12th overall pick, for a veteran player. And then it was reported that the Pistons will pursue guard forward C.J. Miles from the Indiana Pacers in free agency. See, we read that he opted out of his contract with the Pacers. He's played around 11 years in the NBA. Lastly, playing for the Indiana Pacers, as far as I know. C.J. Miles can shoot threes. He can probably replace either Kentavious Caldwell-Pope or Reggie Jackson. I think that's another part that I read earlier a few days ago. Let's see here.
Beg pardon? Because the recapping of the delusional tenure really did a number of my brain.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, with the Tigers stuff. Yeah, but the Pistons say they were open to trading their 12th pick for a veteran. That's more delusionality.
I really hope so, because we need some type of veteran presence off the bench.
There we go. Yeah,
that can produce some type of offensive output. Because as great as Tobias Harris is coming off the bench, he can't do it alone. We got to give some type of guys here that can give some help here. Ish Smith is great, but his best attribute is to facilitate and distribute as a point guard. not getting anything from Stanley Johnson. Okay, it's not working out for that regard. So we'll probably have to go test the waters of free agency. Now, granted, we probably don't have that much money up now because apparently we want to stay committed to this idiotic contracts on Andre Drummond and Reggie Jackson, but I digress. So I was just probably trying to look for someone else, but thing is, you got so many wings already. You don't want to tie it up by trying to sign up another guy who will give you that type of scoring unless he's going to be more likely coming off the bench. They don't need another veteran to be a starter. They need to sign a veteran that can help them with the second unit and such.
Yep. So I think both the option, the optional or the consideration of trading their 12th pick for a veteran, and CJ Miles is a veteran, so the bonus question would be: would the Pistons trade their 12th overall pick for CJ Miles? That would be possible, wouldn't it?
Stay tuned later to hear my answer.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we're going to transition from basketball to hockey. Former Red Wings center Pavel Datsyuk says that he's glad the playoff streak ended since Datsyuk's contract last offseason was traded to the Phoenix Coyotes in the transpiration of his retirement from the NHL. He was going to go to KHL and play in Russia for a year, and now he's opening up a possibility of returning to the NHL. Here's another one of our 5 questions. Just which team will he play for? We don't want to spoil it for you, but is it really possible that Pavel Datsyuk is returning to the NHL?
I don't know. It seems wishy-washy at best to even think of that as a possibility scenario. At this point at his age, what can he contribute? It's not like he was exactly lighting the world on fire with the KHL either. You know, his team seemed to be doing fine at some intervals, even without him on the ice.
Good point. The Red Wings still have their veteran crazy general manager, Ken Holland, greedy. Still has 1 year left in his contract. All that jazz. People know it. And then you got the Grand Rapids Griffins, the Red Wings' top AHL farm affiliate, taking a 2-0 series lead over the Syracuse Crunch in an AHL Calder Cup Finals rematch. They're both in the Calder Cup Finals again this year, dating back to 2013, when the Griffins all were 1 game away from completing a sweep. They still won the AHL Calder Cup in 6 games, but before Game 6, they choked in Games 4 and 5 at Van Andel Arena when they were on the verge of clinching the Calder Cup. But now, this year, they played the first 2 games at Van Andel Arena instead of on the road. And those 2 games, both of them were very, very close. Tomas Nosek scored 2 goals, including the game winner in Game 1, with 13.9 seconds to go in the 3rd period. And then, in Game 2, where Jared Coro stopped a penalty shot, the Griffins won 6-5 in double overtime, Ben Street getting the game-winning goal. But it wasn't that the Griffins dominated the overtime periods. It was the Syracuse Crunch that dominated the overtime periods. Like Buck Gino pointed out a couple hours earlier on Talk Show in the postgame edition, episode 272 thereof. Follow Talk Show on Twitter at Talk Show, and follow Buck Gino on Twitter at Buck Gino, triple I in Roman numerals, the third. He's from the west side of the Mitten. He went to game 2 and saw with his son. Glad those two had a great time. And he saw what happened, and he captured it on Facebook Live. You can add Buck Gino on Facebook as a friend and follow his work from Van Andel Arena, especially. And he saw what happened. The Syracuse Crunch had so many opportunities to even the series at a game apiece, heading back home to Syracuse, Connecticut. But when opportunity presents itself, the Griffins drove it the other way, and they scored the game winner to go up 2-0 in the AHL Calder Cup Finals in 2017. Games 3 through 5, not until Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. All Calder Cup final games start at 7. Games 6 and 7, if necessary, next week at Van Andel Arena. So, 2 keys to the game here, 2 keys to the rest of the series. Stay out of trouble and don't turn the damn puck over, please. Now that's all hockey. Now we're going to transition to football now.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
It has been revealed that Lions running back Ameer Abdullah had a torn Llisfranc last season, but now he says he's back to 100%, and that's very good news, Ed. Without the shadow of a doubt. Because that torn Llisfranc nerve put him out for the rest of last season in Game 2 when the Lions suffered that 15-10 loss in their home opener at Ford Field against the Tennessee Titans. And that was almost a backbreaker, but the Lions still made the playoffs without him, except they didn't win the NFC North. They could have done so with him. They can still do so this year, especially with now a much better buffed up offensive line with TJ Lang and a much better defensive line and at least a couple more extra secondary defenders. And then they made a roster move, cutting fullback Michael Burton to make room for Matt Asiata.
Well, you figured there was going to be a casualty because it's just too many people. It's like the old saying, too many cooks. Too many cooks in the running back kitchen. Somebody had to go. And surprisingly, it wasn't what any of us had picked. You know, essentially, we lost the pool game on that one. So,
yep. At least Matt Asiata is really good. Really good. He and Ameer Abdullah, they can bowl over that opposing defensive line and gain some yards.
Well, like I said, I mentioned before with the offer they made to the right side of their line. See what happens. But that's always a good first step.
Uh-huh. So the only person so Matt Asiata, we thought Matt Asiata was going to replace either Dwayne Washington. Buck Gino pointed out they were going to cut Theo Riddick. They didn't do that. Instead, they cut fullback Michael Burton and decided to keep Riddick and Dwayne Washington. So they're staying.
Yeah, they all apparently had some form of value to the team that felt it worthy enough for them to keep a spot on the roster, and this particular person, unfortunately, did not.
Yeah,
it happens, but that's what getting them caused by the NFL sometimes.
That's true. So that's pro football. This one's going a little bit short. Now we transition to college football.
Touchdown, MSU!
Plenty of Spartan talk to talk about. We have another person in the sexual assault investigation with its name being revealed, and that is Director of College Advancement and Performance, Curtis Blackwell, the second revealed suspended member of the football program. He parted ways with the team. They said they won't renew his contract because of that. So 2 down, 2 to go.
Yeah, this is the way that D'Antonio has to clean up the system before it almost surely costs him his job, and so be it. Should have been done long ago.
Oh, yeah. Sure enough. And then we heard that former Spartan wide receiver Keith Mumphrey was expelled from the university for sexual misconduct in 2016. By hearing that, the Houston Texans cut him, along with linebacker Max Bola, another former Spartan, for performance-enhancing drugs, PEDs for short.
So that explains why Max Bola didn't play in the Rose Bowl. Finally cracked the code.
Yeah. Yeah. Finally got the answer. Yeah. Jeff Moss was trying to crack it down like a couple years ago. And we do believe him. We do. But the case was finally cracked. The mainstream media finally caught up to it. And then this has nothing to do with a sexual assault investigation. But safety Kenny Lyke, Lyke, and cornerback Khalil Gaines are leaving MSU football for two different junior colleges. Lyke is going to Mississippi Delta Community College, and Gaines is going to Arizona Western Junior College, according to Buck Gino, according to Chris Solari of the Lansing State Journal. So they probably won't be playing football for the rest of their lives. Both of them won't. So good luck to them in their future endeavors, wherever they go. And then just a couple Michigan Wolverine football notes.
Touchdown, Michigan!
Sorry for the technical difficulty there. Former Michigan Wolverine Charles Woodson and Texas head coach Mac Brown are both headlining the 2018 College Football Hall of Fame ballot. About time Charles Woodson was inducted into the Hall of Fame, huh?
Yeah, long overdue. Top 5, maybe even top 3 greatest defensive players to ever play collegiate football, and that's not exaggerated, folks. There's a reason why he became the first, and to this day remains the only player to win the Heisman Trophy as a primary defensive player, first and foremost. Yeah, the receptions and the punt returns, that was all part of the flash. That's what got him, the casual. But if you truly pay attention to how he played that game, how he literally took over one fucking side of the field, and then added in the versatile over the top athleticism, it was surely remarkable, an absolute wonder to witness and watch. So, and of course, if he parlay that into what will surely go down as a Hall of Fame pro career as well, getting, of course, that Super Bowl he doesn't work with the damn Packers, but say, hey, I'm happy, if I can be happy for Tom Brady winning 5, being the greatest quarterback ever, I can be happy for Charles Woodson getting a Super Bowl ring to go along with his Heisman Trophy. So, him being on this list, long overdue, but it's nice to see him getting the respect that his play and his legacy deserves.
Fair enough. And then the other note, current Wolverine wide receiver Grant Perry has finished his suspension sentence, and he has rejoined the team. So the Wolverines get back one of their wide receivers. So
it's a nice way to help out with the depth on one of the offensive units that was depleted by graduating seniors. So good on them.
Mm-hmm. That's true. So that's all the Michigan sports material that we've covered for episode 267 of the Week in Review. Now it's time for the segment that we call 5 Questions. Are you ready, Ed?
Absolutely, Terry. Go ahead and let them rip.
It's time for 5 questions on the Michigan Sports Truth.
Question number 1. Is Tigers third baseman Nick Castellanos the next whipping boy to be cut from the roster? Now think about this. He's made 11 errors now through 2 months, but lately his bat is starting to click a little bit. So I'd say hold off on that a little bit.
That's the one grace that's helping him, and the fact that he was so valued and cherished for so long at the prospect. Even when the talks would say, hey, they may need to trade him as a chip piece, but to their credit and to the credit of Dave Dombrowski, they held on to him for so damn long. They had forgot that they traded Jacob Turner, and before they tried to consider trading Castellanos. Now, I thought last year he was having a terrific season. Then he got hurt. This season, not as nowhere near the good enough start that you would hope, but he's still young. Like you mentioned, Taylor, his bat is starting to pick up a little bit. I still say give the young man some time. If there's this much time and patience of waiting into him, you could let it, hold that same method for at least a little while longer.
He hasn't made any errors as of late, despite the 11 errors that he committed earlier on this season.
11 is bad, no doubt, but he's picking up on that now. He's trying to get better at that, so that's something you can admire.
That's true.
Next question.
Question number 2. Is Chris Ilitch forcing Al Avila to stay 100% positive the entire time, or is Al Avila being his own positive idiot?
I don't think so. I think this is an absolute edict from up top, just like it was originally about the whole let's get younger and leaner before they absolutely backtracked on that. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if this was the case. Now well, I guess you could have some sort of measure of proof by reading. If you read Chuck Moss and see how he's been on top of this regarding this whole, I guess what you want to call it, transition phase or whatever, since Mr. Ilitch came into Fort Allen and eventually passed away, you can see, it seems like it's taking quite the shape and form of Chris Ilitch probably becoming a long-term villain in this city, quite the opposite of what his dear departed father was, an ironic sort of thing.
And Jeff Moss on Twitter at JeffMossDSR, the founder, editor-in-chief of the Detroit Sports Rag, tweeted earlier just a couple days ago, or a few days ago, that might be time for a new owner. And I believe him. He's right. The Tigers have to get a new owner. That means business.
It's not going to happen overnight, unfortunately. I can't explain why, but I feel like the Ilitches are going to take their time regarding this whole transition phase before they find an eventual buyer. If the Florida Marlins can somehow con people into making $1 billion stadium, then the Tigers as a franchise sell for way higher than that. So I'm thinking they're waiting on the right price to come in, put it so they can finally say, yep, this is the right one.
That's why.
Damn it!
Well, if the financial debt becomes even worse and the Tigers start losing more games and more money, then it would become even at least a little bit cheaper than expected. Like you pointed out, the Tigers organization price would be higher than the Miami Marlins would, considering they're going up for sale. The Marlins are beating the Tigers to the punch, and that's just unfortunate. It might not be for at least a couple more years or something like that. That's what Justin Spiro was telling Jeff Moss anyway last year.
Next question.
Question number 3. What are the pros and cons for the Pistons possibly trading their 12th overall pick in the 2017 NBA draft for a veteran player?
Well, you want to consider pros that you're possibly getting an asset or two in return for trading. In my opinion, is high enough draft pick. No, it's not one of the gold mine lottery picks, like a top 10 pick or something, but it's still there for a reason. So I'm sure there's teams out there that could be willing to use that to get the player that they want or need or whatever. So there's the pros to that. Cons, it limits you, I think, to what you want to do with your off season. If this may look like it could be the biggest thing that they do off season wise, which really disappoints me. I'm still of the belief that they need to find a way to shed either, the contract of Reggie Jackson and or Andre Drummond, if they want to consider themselves a full remake and remodel. Because I think the way the team is currently constructed, they got good players that have talent potential, but mentally it's not fucking there. And I don't need that, and nor do I want that on my team. So that would have been my first choice option before any type of, and then it would have involved a draft pick possibly, but I think whatever they do regarding this draft pick, this will probably be likely the big thing they do off season from adding or subtracting talent to the gene pool wise.
Good points.
Next question.
Speaking of which, question number 4. Who could the Pistons acquire if they trade this year's 12th overall NBA draft pick, if it's not C.J. Miles, I may add?
Repeat that again. I needed to get the full grasp of that. I'm sorry.
Who could the Pistons acquire if they trade the 12th overall pick, if it's not C.J. Miles?
I don't know. I can't. Well, it's hard to say. It's hard to gauge because all the other guys are already going to be free agents. So it wouldn't make sense, even if you want to do a sign and trade. Right? That is just keep on the pick, pay the kid less money, whoever you take, so you can save that to try to make whatever run that you can at who you want to get in the off season. That would be my best guess for that.
Okay.
Next question.
That's fair enough. It's a wait-and-see approach. Question number 5. If Pavel Datsyuk returns to the NHL, could he be back with the Red Wings or the Arizona Coyotes?
Coyotes, because, I think the way things worked out, correct me if I'm wrong, Phoenix, Arizona still has some type of control of his contract, so most likely you'll be going to them, which is kind of weird. But, considering how in a way he fucked over the Red Wings, I probably wouldn't want to see him back playing for me again either.
Yeah, that's a good point. Still under contract with the Coyotes, unfortunately, for all the Red Wing Pavel Datsyuk fans out there who want Datsyuk back with the Red Wings. Ken Holland traded Pavel Datsyuk's contract away to the Coyotes for defenseman Joe Vitale and 20th pick Dennis Cholowski, who was a joke. Another player involved in that trade going to Arizona, along with Pavel Datsyuk's contract, defenseman Jacob Chikrin, and he's been lighting it up for the Coyotes last season. So there, Ken Holland once again being one of the worst GMs in the NHL today. So,
period.
Yeah,
one more period. In sports, period.
Yeah, sports, period. Yeah.
Jesus.
You are pathetic!
Yep. So, that's the 5 questions segment. For all the listeners and fans out there, if you want to answer those questions, just replay the episode and answer them in the comment bank below this episode. That's episode 267 of the Week in Review of the Michigan Sports Truth on Spreaker. Before we sign off, I want to remind everyone to share this episode and our entire podcast on social media, have them have everyone else, including their friends on Facebook, for example, share that as well, because I want to tell them that the Michigan Sports Truth podcast is in search of local advertising sponsors. If anyone has a business that's interested in sponsoring this program, you can follow Sports Radio Detroit on Twitter at Sports Radio Det, Sports Radio DET, and send them a direct message or email them at sportsradiodetroit.com in the contact section, or email its owner, Roger Castillo, at rajcast81@gmail.com. Also like their Facebook page and join their Facebook group. And finally, find their podcasts available on iTunes and Podbean. Ed Smith, great job again. Talk to you next week on episode 268.
Yeah, hopefully we have a competitive NBA final series by then. Otherwise, God help me.
Yep. I still think the Warriors will take it in at least 5, if not 4. So, get some rest. Have a good week. Talk to you next week.
You too, Taylor.
I'm Taylor Phillips. Follow me on Twitter at DT2Phillips, Ed Smith at EdSmith313, and like the Michigan Sports Truth Facebook page and join its Facebook group. We'll talk to you next week on episode 268. Thanks very much for listening. TTFN, ta-ta for now.
Bon appétit.